to DARQ Matters Show by Vernwell, Episode 3. I am Malak Trapezilev, the founder and managing director of Vernwell Management Consultancies, a space and deep tech focused Dubai-based consultancy firm. We are bringing you this talk show to shed light on the latest related discussions, spread awareness, induce collaboration, and elaborate on the latest happening related to DARQ. And again, DARQ stands for Distributed Ledger Technology, Artificial Intelligence, Extended Reality, and quantum computing, and most of the time you will see me talking about quantum technologies in general. Today's show is with Dr. Nabil El Kadhi, who is Vernewell Group team member and a recognized futurist in both education and innovation. He was selected among the 50 most impactful international leaders in smart cities and smart applications. In fact, the world is swiftly approaching a post-digital age in which organizations must transcend their current digital transformations. We came to term that digitalization is no longer a differentiating factor. Therefore, forward-thinking corporate executives need a competitive advantage in order to flourish. And today's show is about the metaverse. And we're going to ask various questions to Dr. Nabil El Kadhi to find out some of the opportunities in relation to the metaverse and the challenges we may face or we are facing today. My first question to you, Dr. Nabil El Kadhi, is how DARQ Technologies impact the user's experience around the metaverse?
Wow. That's a very interesting question, Ms. Malak. First of all, let us agree on the fact that if there were no such advancement of the DARQ technologies, the metaverse on itself, with all the services and the huge applications that we are seeing today, would not be existing. Now, the most important thing in the metaverse is that the user will have a kind of easy, engaging, and amazing experience. And that is not possible without the DARQ technologies in a lot of aspects. Blockchain, the usage later on of the quantum that will fast track, the number of applications and simulations. So to make it short, I would say that DARQ technologies are very crucial in making the user experience amazing, easy, engaging, and to make it in a certain way available for everyone. I would say one of the compulsory elements to let the metaverse experience gain the satisfaction of the user, because one of the problems the metaverse is facing today, how much or how many of those users are coming back and using it back again, is relatively small, and I believe that DARQ technology will enhance that aspect and will make it going more and more for a better, smoother, and more engaging user experience.
Thank you so much for your insightful answer. And really, the metaverse is taking us to another question, which is about the cross-generational challenges. My question is, there are cross-generational challenges dealing with the metaverse, and how can we bridge this gap?
Okay. Let me go back to when the internet came on. Okay, when the internet came on, I think we have seen that generation gap, and a lot of people were not on the net and not knowing how to use, how to click, and then problem with the security breach. And what was the solution of that? I would say three major components, and the same is to apply in the metaverse. First of all, we need to demystify it. We need to make it, a simpler concept for everyone. So there is a lot of work with all the generation, not the Z generation that are already enabled for the technology, the older one, to let them understand how these metaverse work and to speak in their language and to, initiate it to them in a simpler way. So that's the first step, is to democratize the metaverse. That's number one. Number two is, when we are building the metaverse application themselves, if we don't consider that there are users who are less tech savvy, who are less, intuitively using those technologies, we're gonna miss them. So we need to take them in consideration in making the applications, considering that there are people who will need a certain level of assistance, who will need a different level of presentation. And that's the second step. And the third step is not about the older one, but the very young one. I think they need to be prepared in a better way than the current, teenagers and the current adults of today to the metaverse applications and to the metaverse usage by having, programs preparing them from the early age to the use of the metaverse, to the challenge, the pros and cons, the plus and minus of the metaverse, so that they can find their equilibrium. This generation gap will continue to exist, but we have to be aware about something. The advancement of technology now and the fact that the metaverse is becoming a de facto standard, we cannot live without it. The same thing happened with the social media. There were people for, people against, and then everyone is today on the social media. You might use all the tools, you might use some tools, you might use it to 80% of your time, you might use it by 20% of your time, but if you are not on social media, you're gonna die. So more or less the same thing gonna happen with the metaverse. Everyone gonna have a certain experience. So the more we consider the different user profile in the applications, the more we prepare them to be easy, engaging for everyone, the more we demystify and we prepare the user, the more we reduce this gap existing between generations on how they engage and mainly how they look to the metaverse.
There are more challenges related to the metaverse, and my question will lead to another aspect. And it is, what are the different challenges other than the cross-generational challenges that we spoke about? And how can Vernewell Team help overcoming the related issues?
Well, I think there are 4 blocks of challenges that the metaverse is facing today. The first one is a technical challenge and to know which technology to use for which application. Everyone is today jumping and saying we need blockchain or we need crypto system or we need bitcoins, but we need to know what we want to do in the metaverse. When we know what we want to do with the metaverse, we need to choose the right technology for the right application. So that's the first challenge. And I believe a know-how like the one available with the team of Vernwell Academy is very important to guide people on what is the level of technology you need on your metaverse application, how you're going to launch it, which technique to implement, what level of you need. So that's the first one, the first one. The second challenge is user level. Are we going to retain the user? Are we able to answer the need of the user on the metaverse? And are we able really to tackle the need of the users of the metaverse? And again, this is a kind of complicated analysis that have part of it is consumer behavior, part of it is human analysis, part of it is technological and market. And once again, Vernwell Academy here can play a major role in supporting the different entities in that. The third one is what I said in the previous question. We need to demystify all of this. Those concepts look to a lot of user like it's like you are speaking Chinese to someone who's speaking only English and you want him to understand it. So we need to bring those magma of knowledge to a level of understanding that everyone can cope with it and everyone can find its place in the metaverse. Because someone who does not see the interest of the metaverse for it, no matter how engaging the application you will have, they will not go into it and they will not be a user. And if they did it once by chance or to test, they will not come back. Last and not least, I think the metaverse is today still not really having an enjoyable experience. This is a little bit technological challenge because the kind of avatars we are having, the kind of behavior are not yet engaging fully the augmented reality and such kind of things so that the people are immersed. And I will conclude by the last challenge is when we should go to the metaverse and when we should not. I don't believe personally that we need to immerse in a fully digital life when everything is on the metaverse. I think we need to remain human. We need to recreate part of humanity in the metaverse, absolutely agreeing, but finding that balance, finding that very tiny limit that we should not cross. That's one of the things Vernwell Academy is excellently doing today.
Thank you so much for your insights. And one more question, which is related to education. So taking education as a use case, how can we benefit of the metaverse to create the Eduverse experience, and what can we offer to institutions in order to make the next giant leap in this field? Of course, taking into consideration the inclusion of DARQ technologies in general.
A very interesting and very inspiring question. I think education is facing a lot of challenges, and one of the challenges that education is facing is resources, is practical experience to the students, is simulation. In some cases, it's very difficult. Let me take the clinical, studies. It's very difficult to simulate a surgical operation or to simulate things like that. So having the possibility to do that in the metaverse might come as a solution to engage the students with a lot of practical skills without having that heavy load of resources. That's number one. And again, with the resources, sharing the resources. If something is available somewhere in the world and they can engage in a metaverse experience and have access to it without traveling, without duplicating the resources, wow, that is amazing. So I can say the metaverse can be one of the solutions for the education to give a better practical learning experience to the students. However, we cannot duplicate or recreate everything in the metaverse. A nurse still needs to do really, an injection on a patient before going and being licensed. So that limit is again something very, very, very crucial to find. And then I think the metaverse also will offer to the students the possibility to engage in a lot of application that does not exist today. We cannot give the student the possibility to create a mini quantum computer. We cannot offer them the possibility today to build their own 3D because it's expensive, because it demands time. But with the metaverse, we can give them that. And it might be also a factor that will offer the same learning experience to everyone. And not someone is having a good professor, the other one is having good resources, the other one is not having good professors. But again, we need to be careful in the education that our educational system, using the metaverse in a way fit for purpose, have to remain equitable, have to remain engaging, and have to remain available for everyone, regardless of the resources they might have at their hand.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nabil, for your insights, and I hope to see you again, of course, talking about the metaverse and other applications and smart cities. Vernwell is here to help businesses adapt to change and embrace new technologies in order to prosper while managing these risks or the related risks and raising awareness on their potentials as well as their threats in order to overcome them and transform the challenges into competitive advantage. DARQ matters because they have the potential to alter capabilities around security, personalized experience, and sophisticated problem solving, and it will be intriguing to address these matters in the upcoming episodes of DARQ Matters, once a month, and do not mix with the highlights of the week. Until the next episode of DARQ Matters, may the DARQ be with you.